Now if I may switch to Andrej. And yeah, so Die Linke has a long tradition. I think the first time you entered the election was in 2005, right? But there are a lot of similarities with the German Linke and Slovenian Levica. You also started from movements and then joining some parties. So maybe if you can, just brief description of how was it, the process, what were maybe the key, problems? And of course, I think that here everybody is curious about to hear from first hand what is happening with the Sarah Wagenknecht's movement Aufstehen and what is the official position of Die Linke about this movement. And I know that you and some other members of the party of Die Linke, you stated kind of a minority report which is not doesn't go together with the official statement of Die Linke regarding the Aufstehen movement.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you first for existing Levica, because for us it's really important to see in a post-socialist country a new left emerging and being successful. And you took over not only our name, but our result of our last general election. This is 9.3%. So it's really I think it's very important that your work here is very important as well for the European left. It's a high symbolic importance. Concerning sometimes relating to your presentation, sometimes it's external pressure uniting the left. This was happened with our party. It was we had a situation in Germany after 16 years of Helmut Kohl, conservative government. In 1998, that social democratic green government came to power with Schröder and Fischer, and one of the first measures was bombarding Belgrade. Yeah, it was just five months. Yeah, 5 months after coming to power, and this was for a lot of persons was a shock, especially in the Green Party. But they very much were in favor, Joschka Fischer, but especially in the years 2003, 2004, we had the biggest social cuts in Germany in history after the Second World War, organized by a so-called left-wing government, by Social Democratic and Green. And in that year, 2003, 2004, there was a lot of opposition. I remember one big demonstration on 1st of November 2003. I was in no party before, I was coming out of the movements. And I was active in that movement. We had a demonstration in Berlin, November 2003. We were there before and talking, if we get 10,000, we will be happy. And it came 100,000 against the social cuts. And this was without social democracy, without Green Party, without trade union leadership. It was the biggest direct social demonstration in history, not under control of either social democracy or the trade union bureaucracy. And this process, after that demonstration, I will not go into the details, but there was a lot of movement in the year 2003, 2004. A new party was founded called WASG, Wahlalternative Arbeit und Soziale Gerechtigkeit. It's something like
Electoral Alternative for Labor and Social Justice.
Yeah, this was a new party founded, and we had as well the traditional Party for Democratic Socialism coming out the Eastern German bureaucracy and trying to transform itself in a German-wide left-wing party, but they were not successful so far between 1991 and 2003 in West Germany. They never got more than 1% in the elections. So this new party was more Western German based, and now we had two left-wing parties standing in the elections in 2004 in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is my federal state, which has 18 million people living there, so it's quite important. And both stand for the election, and there was 1% for PDS, 2.3% for the new party, and the breakdown of the Social Democratic Party, because this was always a stronghold. And then Schröder, the Chancellor, called for new elections. It was in June, and he called for new elections in September. So we had a very pressure from outside. And after this calling for new elections, Oscar Lafontaine, who was a former president of Social Democrats, said, if the two parties will go together, I would stand for candidacy for the general elections. And this was, of course, he was former president of the Social Democratic Party, was something which really was a big issue.
And Minister of Finance.
He was Minister of Finance and Economy. He was Minister, I think. Finance and Economy. In '98 with Schröder and Fischer, and he left after half a year before the bombardment of Belgrade, and but mainly because it was clear that the direction is a neoliberal one and not a traditional social democratic one. So this was under this pressure. We organized to decide to. I was not member during that time, but they organized. I was still part of the movements, but calling for the new left, but as from the point of view of the movements. But they succeeded at 8 something in the elections, and in 2009 elections 11.9%. So it was a quite success story, and the two parties, a long process afterwards, after being in the national parliament, they merged in 2007. Formerly Die Linke as a new party was founded. Then we had a lot of problems. Because the dynamic, there was a lot of dynamic during that time, a lot of anger against, especially against the social democratic by working class people, and we could attract this anger, but it was not, we could not, or partially not, organize this into a constant political work. And in 2013, in the elections, we got 8.5%, something like this, and now we have 9.2%, 9.24.
To be exact. Yeah.
No, but now to understand the current situation is that in the last general election 1 year ago, we gained 500,000 votes, mainly in the big cities. We have a very strong trend now in the party. This was not 5 years ago, it was not the same, but now very strong trend to young urban people. For example, in St. Pauli, Hamburg, which is a very trendy urban area. We were strongest party in the elections. Now in Berlin, we are in the polls, the strongest party at the moment. So we have a very urban and young trend. I think it's more or less the same as Levica. But at the same time, we heavily lost, despite having 500,000 more votes, we heavily lost in the precarious and unemployed areas, non-urban areas of precarious and unemployed. So for unemployed people, we always had more than 20%, because we directly came out of the unemployment movement in 2004. Now we had only 11% in the general election for the unemployed people. So this was the starting point of Oscar Lafontaine and Sarah Wagenknecht to say we have to address these people, and this was as well linked with, from their point of view, a criticism on from their point of view, idealistic open border politics, very offensive, made by the party. They criticize this. And so there was a link to these two issues. This is not the majority of the party position. And there is at the moment, I would say, there is a heavy dispute, or maybe between the party leaders, which is Bernd Rixinger and Katja Kipping on the one hand, and the group leaders, which is Sarah Wagenknecht and Dietmar Bartsch. That's the situation. They are professional in the election period, but still it exists. And now Sarah Wagenknecht and Oskar Lafontaine, especially Sarah Wagenknecht, started this new initiative, Aufstehen, which is trying to copy or to bring in elements of the experiences of the Bernie Sanders campaign, of the Momentum campaign in Britain, and of the France Insoumise campaign in France, and trying internet-based attraction to the alienated from parties spectrum, political spectrum, and trying to push for more social issues. I would say there's a strategic difference between, they don't try to directly attack the rise of the right populists. I have to say we have the problem now in Germany, after years, the same problem like in other European countries, that we have a new right-wing, extreme right party, the Alternative für Deutschland, which entered for the first time last year the parliament, and now they are gaining every month. Now we have the polls, they have 16-17% at the moment, and they are gaining, and as well they are strongest party in the poorest areas of Germany, being a very neoliberal party, but mixed with racism, and exploiting the feeling of a lot of German poor, that whole society is only dealing with refugees, which is not true, of course, but the media, the general debate sometimes seems like it is, and they are very successful in exploiting this. So there was just some days ago a new survey for in the poorest areas, those who have 70% or less of the average income. Strongest party is AfD, second strongest are, so they have 29%, we have 21 in that area at the moment, and then coming the other Social Democrats and the others. So this is, I think this phenomenon is not a German phenomenon, it's an international phenomenon. We have this phenomenon with Trump and the Rust Belt, we have the phenomenon with Brexit and the in Britain, the old industrial areas. We have the phenomenon with Le Pen in France. And I see Aufstehen as trying to tackle this problem. I don't know if it's, and I have some criticisms on how it's made, but nevertheless, it was made without support of the party leadership. I'm a member of the board of the party, and it's an individual issue of Sarah Wagenknecht and her friends. They started it together with some dissidents from Social Democrats and Greens. And they started this on 4th of November, September, and now they collected 150,000 people said on the internet, I support. Can write their email address and and they're trying to use some programs of the Bernie Sanders campaign, but they are not so used to it. So there are a lot of technical problems, by the way. But I think from this 150,000 signing, and when you sign, you are asked which party you are, or not party, and which issues you are interested, and so on. And from that 150,000, and to compare, we have 63,000 members of Die Linke, which of course is much. It's a big difference between being a member of a party and just sometimes signing, I support this. From this 150,000, I estimate 20,000 are member of our party. About 10,000, maybe a bit less, members of Social Democratic Party. About 1,000 members of Green Party, and the other parties less, and the rest is no party. So you have 120,000 people with no party affiliation, but in a very soft way linked to this project. And I think, and this is my personal position, or the minority position, we as Die Linke should relate to them and have not go too much to distance. So we have a heavy debate. And of course there is very nervosity, I can tell you open, about possible split of the party. But in my point of view, this depends on very different. It depends not only on the idea of Sarah Wagenknecht or Sarah Fontaine. It depends on the dynamic of this Aufstehen movement, so-called movement. We don't know how this will develop. It depends on the cleverness of our party, in my point of view. It depends on European issues. You know that on the European level, the left is there are as well different big how to say struggle or between, for example, France Insoumise from Mélenchon and Syriza on the other hand, and we don't know what will happen after the European election. With this, so it depends on a lot of issues, and that's concerning Aufstehen. But maybe some word on the political situation in Germany, because I think it's a very new situation we have. It's not only that the right wing is so much climbing at the moment. It's a very deep and long-term weakness of the traditional big parties. You know, Germany was always stability, was a big conservative party, the CDU, and a big social democratic party, and maybe some small green or liberal or us. But now it's a deep decline of not only the social democrats, they have now 16% only. Remember with Schröder they had 40%. It's a historical decline. And we have some other Western European countries even where social democracy is even more declined. The Netherlands, France, they nearly disappeared. But as well, we have now a decline of the Christian Democrats. They are losing now a lot to the right-wing populists, and they are now at 27–28%, which is a historical low decrease. So we will have in 10 days, and some days, I think 1.5 weeks, we will have the elections in Bavaria, which is a kind of federal state near to Slovenia. Maybe it's nearer from Slovenia to Bavaria than from my hometown to Bavaria. And it's a federal state with 13 million people, so it's quite big. And there we have as well a historical decline of the CSU. Bavaria was a very conservative area, very difficult for us. And CSU, which is more a right-wing partner of CDU, now will have a historical low outcome as well, maybe 35%, something like this, and they sometimes have over 60% or 50%. And if they don't rule alone, for them it's a catastrophe. But now it seems that they need more than one partner to rule after the elections. And we are very much struggling there to enter the parliament, which is very difficult for us because it's so conservative. Last time we had 2.1 only there in the last federal election. Now we are between 4 and 5%. So we have a chance, I would say 20-30% chance. Quite dynamic election campaign at the moment. Last days in Nuremberg, 2,500 people for our election meeting in Munich, more or less the same yesterday. So it's a chance, it's quite important. And we will have elections in Hessen, which is 7 million federal state, where we are quite consolidated. We will get 7-8% there. We are in the parliament. So, but this is one issue. On the other issue, we have every week we have mass demonstrations in Germany at the moment. So let's say mass demonstration, several 10,000s in Munich against a new police law, against the criminalization of the how to say in the Mediterranean, you know, the Seerettung, Seenotrettung.
Helping immigrants in the Mediterranean.
You know that there are a lot of civil society organizations buying ships, trying to save the lives in the Mediterranean, and they are criminalized. And a lot of Germans are as well in these civil societies, and there's spontaneously in the July, August, we had in every city in Germany huge demonstrations against this, it's called Seebrücke, sea bridge movement. In my city, small city like Ljubljana, Aachen, we never have seldom demonstrations of more than 200 or so. There came spontaneously 1,500 people on the streets in this movement. So we have this kind of demonstrations, and we have now a very interesting struggle movement. It's Hambacher Forst. It's Hambach Forest, which is a forest near my hometown, where a huge coal company is you have to come and see this. This is so huge. The project of great, how do you say, digging coal and firing it. A lot of power plants over there. And there is a very old forest now, the last forest there. It is a very strong movement. People, activists from all over Europe, they were in the trees, building houses in the trees. The police now, they destroyed this, but the forest still is there. And every weekend, last weekend I was there, 20,000 people came there to protest without a big mobilization. We will have, on Saturday, we will have a nationwide demonstration. I think we'll 50,000 or so for this, to save this forest. But the energy company, RWE, says this will cost us 4 billion euro. So it has some kind of ecologic and anti-capitalist character. and 75% of German population are, according to the board, say this forest should be saved. So it's very interesting movements and situation. But well, the left is stable with 10-11% in the polls. Our party a bit higher than during the last election, but not really gaining. More the Greens are now at the moment more gaining. They can attract more from the those leaving the CDU, and it's traditional. Even if our proposals concerning ecological issues are more consequent than those of the Greens, they always gain. That's because it's their Markenkern, we say, it's their identity. The Greens are for, if you are for ecology, then you vote the Greens. If you are for social issues or for anti-war, then you vote the left or the social issues, but sometimes even social. That's the situation, more or less now.
Okay, you wrote my question about Hamburger Forst. This means that we already tackled this topic. I wanted to mention or to emphasize that Aufstehen is not the only movement which is now happening.
No.
That this fight for the, it's of course different topics, you know, but for us as Levica, who are also an ecological party, I wanted that we talk also about this fight for the Hambacher forest. So now maybe kind of what you said before about the current situation in Germany, because some days ago there was this article at our national television where one of our correspondents from Berlin said that because Angela Merkel's candidate, being the leader of the parliamentary group of CDU-CSU, was not accepted, and that her this kind of inconfidence among her own party is the beginning of the end of the area of Angela Merkel. And now maybe a provocative question or thought, because this is what I also heard when I was visiting Berlin, speaking with people who are pro and contra the movement of Aufstehen. I heard that maybe, possibly, Sarah Wagenknecht could be the new
Chancellor.
Yeah.
Wow.
But just a short, then we can go on with
okay,
this topic.
Long speeches, but I think you have to understand that Sarah Wagenknecht is now maybe Gysi as well still, but he is not man of the future. Sarah Wagenknecht is by far the most popular person of Die Linke in Germany, and she's very popular in these, how to say, alienated layers of society, not so politicized layers, there were polls some months ago that she's the most. If there would be some direct election for chancellor, she would be the most first opponent to Angela Merkel. And this is out of this popularity, she has the self-confidence to do what she's doing with Aufstehen without the consent of the party. But this is always, as you know, can be a problem. It's a very mixed feeling with this. But you have in this phenomenon with the emerging left in the last years, this personality element. Bernie Sanders with Jeremy Corbyn and this phenomenon. And they try to, the Aufstehen people, they try to make the same, more or less, with the personality of Sarah. So, concerning Merkel, I don't know. It is a sign of instability of the most stable party, maybe of Europe, the German CDU-CSU. The heart of stability is becoming. There are surprises like this new. Politically, it's hard to say. Maybe it's a bit more wirtschaftsliberal, more economic liberal than the other one. But could be, for some parts of CDU, Merkel is seen as half a social democrat. And this is a narrative of the right wing in Germany as well, that Angela Merkel made out of the Conservative Party a social democratic party. So, but I don't know. Never underestimate Angela Merkel. She survived so many opponents in her party.
Who remembers Friedrich Merz? No one anymore.